We are watching shares of Nvidia slightly lower, less than 1% here after hours trading. After reporting results just moments ago, let's bring in Raji Gill, managing director at Needham. Likes the stock, Raji. It was a beat, bottom, top line. The quote from Jensen Huang, the CEO, in the intro, that he is seeing momentum, strong momentum across the businesses and excellent traction with new software business models into the new year. What's the takeaway from this report?
I looked at the numbers. The numbers look great. There was a significant beat and raise quarter. For the guide for April, they're coming in at $8.1 billion. The street was $7.3 billion, so almost $800 million above the street. If you look at the segments, the gaming business grew 61% year over year. That represents about 58% of revenue. And their compute networking, or the data center business, grew 60% as well. And this is after growing 50% the prior year. So the last 2 years for Nvidia, it's been growing over 100%. And this is almost all entirely organically. There's been no kind of meaningful acquisitions whatsoever. And the company is generating significant amount of free cash flow, generating about $9 billion of free cash flow, has an operating margin of 47%. So the financials are as good as you can get. And the TAMs that Nvidia is addressing are massive. So in the hardware TAM, there's about $100 billion TAM available. And then with the Omniverse opportunity, that's another $100 billion TAM. So TAMs are quite big for Nvidia.
What about on the supply side? Are the risks there now behind them, or is that still a concern for the rest of this year?
The risk is less of a concern. They have made close to $3 to $4 billion worth of prepayments from their foundry partners, TSMC as well as Samsung. They will be getting more supply in the second half of this year to support the surge in gaming. That's where most of the constraints have been on their new gaming chips. So capacity will be coming online. Nvidia is an extremely important customer for TSMC as well as for Samsung. So I think the capacity conditions will start to ease in the second half.
Jim Cramer always calls this one a conference call stock. So, Raji, what do you expect? And do you expect to see a more meaningful move in one direction? Because right now it's kind of flattish after hours.
Yeah, I'm surprised by the reaction. It was a significant beat and raise quarter. However, semis in general have been kind of selling off this cycle, despite the fact that most companies have been putting up beat and raise quarters. So I think folks are kind of worried about some sort of inventory correction down the road when more capacity comes online. I don't think that's going to bear fruit. So I think there's just a general concern about the semi cycle and higher interest rates affecting valuations. I think on the call, we should hear more about the Omniverse opportunity in 3D virtual worlds. We should hear more about their shift towards higher gross margins by selling more software. Maybe get an update on what are they going to do now after the ARM acquisition has kind of failed and dissolved, and is there a new kind of strategy there? So a number of items will be up for discussion. But in our view, Nvidia should be the first $1 trillion semiconductor company.
Just quickly, Raji, to round it off, would an economic slowdown hurt them, or are they immune to that?
An economic slowdown will hurt everyone. I do feel that they're less vulnerable than others because they're tied to massive secular trends that are happening in technology. One of which is the adoption of artificial intelligence and machine learning across industries, across hyperscalers, across enterprises. That's not slowing down. The need to process different types of data, whether it's natural language processing or video or images, that will continue. The consumer side is tied to gaming, demand for gaming. Gaming is also in a secular shift as well, and they have a huge installed base. So there will be some impact in terms of the consumer spending, but the secular trends, both in gaming and data center, are very strong.